when we lost it, it was very like deflating, and I lost a lot of motivation. Like you go to make a video, or you want to make something, you want to reply to a comment, and it's like, well, fuck, where am I posting this? On TikTok only, and it's just like, can't be fucked. Go do something else. Go play chess, or go do some other crap.
But you did kind of touch on it, like there was a lot of negatives, but also like since then we have like there's been so many positives that have come from it. A couple that I can think of off the top of my head is we learned a fuck ton during that whole process. You know, it's related / unrelated. We ended up getting scammed twice.
Yep.
I don't know how deep into that we want to go, but I was definitely the first victim of the scam. We lost $2,000 to this scam. So yeah, at the end of the day, we had somebody that showed a very keen interest in our social media and wanted to take it on board and to steer us in the right direction, and sold me the dream basically while Steve and JP were away. And obviously busy times, and started going through everything, and it sounded amazing. And these blokes were, JP was halfway up a mountain, Steve was 38 beers deep on another mountain, snowboarding down the side of it.
Taking out kids.
Sent off nailing little kids. Not
Two of
nailing.
them.
Nailing their knees.
Kneecapping
I
them.
didn't taking them out on the hill. On the mountain, slopes, whatever the fuck you call it. Jeez, that's going to be a horrid blooper.
Put that up.
But so I was in a very vulnerable state, running the two companies, and this guy got me.
So let's go into a little bit.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's go into a bit of detail. So we're looking for a social media manager, someone who can basically manage our social medias, as the name would suggest, and we were looking for someone with a bit of expertise, someone who had done it in the past, and we sent out a couple of adverts, and we got a really good resume. It was a very, very impressive resume. I remember you sent it to the group chat. It was a presentation. It was elite. I had a photo of the guy, and he had this 4-week plan about what he was going to do with us and where he was going to take us. And essentially, you were really the only one, Tom, that was talking to him throughout the process, because JP and I were away. And then we met up with him 4 weeks after we initially paid him. So we put him on a trial, $500 a week, and we met up with him. And I remember he walked in to this meeting, first time meeting JP and I. JP and I had hardly spoken to him. You'd spoken to him a lot on the phone. We'd never met him in person. And he walked in, he's just like, so what do you guys got for me? And that was basically what he said. Or I think you might have asked JP, you might have asked, how do we want to run this? And he was just like, depend. What have you guys got for me?
Just run questions
by me. What do you mean? What have you got? What have we got for you? We've just paid you $2,000. What have you got for us? That was my initial first alarm with him. Anyway, then sort of, does anyone else want to continue about what happened?
Yeah, we sat through a 3.5 hours.
I'll talk about the first hour and a half. So we did whatever we did. We discussed shit. He had a lot of, theories about different things, but there was one thing, like he showed us on the Instagram function. It was about like the arrows on the analytics, which is actually shares.
Yeah.
But he said it's how many DMs we got. And then I was like, well, hang on a second. You can't like not know that if you're an expert of social media. Then we had a lunch break, and I was still okay. I was kind of going with it. I still wasn't like skeptical of him just yet. I was kind of cautious. You were too I don't know if he was paying you extra for, for feedback to give to us or whatever, or he was paying you way more and then you were pocketing it and then not telling us or something.
Maybe.
But no, we got out of the thing.
Don't do the banking. You wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, you did all the zeros.
I've been skimming
who knows?
For months.
No, but we went there, got some food. Me and Steve went together. You were still inside where we had the coffee, and then Steve's like, he said something like, I reckon this guy's full of shit or something. Or he said like something like, I'm not really sold on this guy. I think he's bullshit.
Yeah, I wasn't sold.
And then when he said that, I was then I started thinking, and it like flicked a switch in my head, and I started seeing all this other shit after the break. We went away from the meeting, whatever. We said we'd follow him up and do something in the next couple of days, let him know where we're at, whether we'd go ahead with it. And then after like reviewing some stuff, doing some homework, getting the private investigator that we usually use to get a little bit of an audit of people, we came across some stuff, and we were just pretty much like, we realised he was probably pulling our legs a bit.
Yeah. He came in with great ideas, and he was a great visionary, and he was a good bloke. Let's be real, like in terms of the way he came across and spoke and presented himself, and he was very easy to hang out with and talk with, very charismatic, that sort of thing. But then we started reviewing that 4-week plan that he said he was going to do. And we were all, so it was a bit of tension between the three of us. Obviously, Tom, you were very pro for him. I was very against him. And JP, you were probably somewhat in the middle. So there was a bit of tension between us. But then we looked at this 4-week review, and he said that he was going to do this. He said he was going to do A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. And he'd done probably 5% of what he said he'd do.
Yeah,
and also had provided insight with inverted commas on things that wasn't a complete analysis. So he
Yeah.
said that he was going to do a full, thorough analysis of all our social media platforms
Yeah.
and see how potential content varied or performed across each of the platforms. And he only looked at our Instagram, and we had a TikTok account that was booming, and some of our videos did very well on TikTok but didn't do well on Instagram.
Yeah.
So he said don't do those videos because they didn't do well on Instagram, but he's failed to forget, or he's forgotten
We
that,
had YouTube too.
we had YouTube, and it's like, just because they didn't do well on Instagram doesn't mean there's not value in that content. So not only did he not do a thorough analysis, what he did provide was, technically you can't really take it, for what it's worth, because it actually is doing well in other
Yeah,
platforms.
it wasn't a holistic approach to everything.
Correct,
Like
yeah.
you look at one platform and obviously it paints a little picture, but you zoom out, you see everything and you get the correct information. But also with the analytics, he was saying things like, like we asked him, how do you know? Like our question, he had this comment about the suit podcast we did, and he said, never wear suits again on the podcast. Obviously we did it as a piss take. It wasn't to do anything special, but all of the reels from that podcast went really well. All the TikToks went really well. And then we actually got a lot of new subscribers around that time. Whether it's a coincidence, I'm not sure. But he just said, don't do it again. It's bad for the algorithm, or it didn't work, or bad for the image and stuff like that. Which I said to Tom straight up, I disagree with. Tom's kind of like, well, just listen to him. And I'm like, no, I want to actually understand. Like, I think I'm someone who probably over questions things, or like would rather someone explain something to me first and I see it happen rather than me just take it for what it's worth at the start. So you can call me probably ultra critical before I believe something.
No, it's fine to challenge things.
And I think that's a good way to be, to a degree. But then we asked him, how did you do the analytics? And he's just kind of like, I just kind of know from looking at it. And we were just like, well, we're like, what are we paying for? Like, I could get my grandma to look at my social media, and if it said 200 likes on one person, 40 on another, you just assume the 200 likes is better. But that's the kind of analysis we were getting. It was very subjective. It wasn't specific. It wasn't presented in a way in which it was very like objectifiable. You couldn't look at anything and say, all right, we're going to increase that or decrease this. It was just kind of like throwing shit advice at us every left, right and center, which we didn't pay for, I guess, at the end of the day. But
and so then what? So we've decided that he's probably not going to continue on with us. We've realised that he's probably a bit of a shit talker. And then we gave him a chance. We said to him, we sent him a message after being back and forth speaking to him for best part of 4 weeks, a lot of voice messages back and forth, couple of calls. And then we said to him, look, Matt Butler, we're going to give you 2 weeks unpaid to do the work that you said you were going to do that we've paid for. We sent that off. We sent a massive analysis of all the work that he said he was going to do. And what did we get? What did we get in return? Crickets.
Legit crickets. I think he's blocked your number as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think he's a scammer. We called the company.
Well, I mean, after we followed up with... So one of the claims, I guess, now was like, he said that he worked for True Protein and built up there. He was the chief marketing officer at True Protein. And then, after not hearing back from him for a little while, I was like, that just kind of just doesn't add up. Why would that... Like, why would he not respond? So then I contacted True Protein. And I sent them an email. I called them first and asked, can I speak to someone in the marketing department? And they said that they'd only respond to me via email. So I sent them an email. And as soon as my email went through, 8-10 minutes later, I got a call from them. Oh. And they were like, hi, is this Thomas that's inquiring about a Matthew Butler? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, how have you found this guy's name? What kind of association? What's he told you about True Protein? And it was really like, she was really coy and kind of alarmed, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I was like, oh, he just, he said that he mentioned that he was chief marketing officer and grew your brand, and we just wanted to get a reference for him. And she's like, no, that's completely false. Like, he just didn't do that here at True Protein. So yeah, obviously after that, it was kind of like, well, what the fuck? So,
but he did have an association with True Protein.
Yeah, I don't know. They had some sort of deal, but he wasn't chief marketing officer. So for anybody else out there, if Matt Butler ever tells you anything about social media, please don't give him the time of day. Because he's $2,000 richer, thanks to me.
I reckon it's not even his real name.
But
who knows?